Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Smells Like. I'm Josh. So good to see you. This is my top 5 most complimented fragrances of 2018. We all love to wear fragrances for ourselves. Me in particular, I don't usually think too much about what other people think of my fragrance, but I have to admit that when I do get those compliments, when I do get noticed by people, whether it's people I know or strangers that stop me and ask what I'm wearing or tell me that I smell great, it can be a bit of a confidence boost. And so I have 5 fragrances from my collection that really are far and away the head honchos of my collection in terms of really getting a lot of notice, a lot of compliments. But first I have a couple of honorable mentions. The first one is just because I don't have a full bottle of it yet. This is next on my list of bottles to get. It's Baccarat Rouge 540 by Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This is sweet and fresh. It's got some sugary aspects. It's got kind of like an ambergris, sea breeze type of aspect to it. I think that sweetness with that freshness really makes this inviting. People just tend to like this. I think it's easy to wear, but it also is elegant. It smells upscale. For a fragrance like this that costs, a lot, comes in a fancy bottle and everything, a fancy house like Maison Francis Kurkdjian, you want it to smell upscale. You want it to smell fancy. You want it to even smell expensive. And I think that Baccarat Rouge 540 does. So that's just an honorable mention. Already gotten a lot of compliments from this fragrance just from wearing it from decants. So that'll be my next bottle. The other quick honorable mention is Alien Man from Mugler. Only because I only got this about a month ago. I've already had a ton of compliments though, just in the month that I've owned this. This is kind of like a bizarro world version of a mainstream men's designer fragrance. There are some familiar aspects to this as well as some not so familiar aspects to this that really kind of make it unique but familiar also. And so it has that mainstream appeal with some uniqueness. This one has some woods, a lot of green, herbal, kind of strange notes going on. Really recommend checking this one out, especially for fall and winter. I think it's a really nice one. Let's get into the list. My heavy-hitting top 5 most complimented fragrances. At number 5, this one's from Hermes, Terre de Hermes, the Eau de Toilette. This is the original, all about that bitter orange with a little bit of earthiness from patchouli. There's some benzoin in this, really gorgeous bitter orange, bright citrus along with the earthiness, a little bit of a mineral vibe too. This is a real masterpiece from Hermes. This has that uniqueness factor, but also has a real people-pleasing aspect to it as well. There's also some vetiver in here that gives a little bit of a classy touch to where I feel like you could really dress this up in some formal occasions, or really would be a good office fragrance if you work in an office type professional setting, but also would be good, for going out to dinner, stuff like that. Just an elegance to this with a freshness that has some legs underneath, a little bit of warmth from that benzoin, earthiness from that patchouli, and some kind of unique notes like mineral aspects, a little bit of an earthy aspect to that bright orange citrus notes to create some contrast. Love Terre de Hermes. At number 4, this one is from Tom Ford. Just came out this year, actually. This is Ombre leather. Now, I have had some experience with ombre leather when it was in the Tom Ford private blends, and then they took it away from that line, reintroduced it in 2018 to their sort of designer level line. They reintroduced this fragrance in 2018. Ombre leather is just a really slick, smooth, kind of like a fresh, vibrant leather. There's also some jasmine, which gives this some air, some saffron, I believe. There might even be some patchouli hiding in there, giving this a little bit of depth and darkness. This really wears well on me. I've especially been enjoying this for the colder months since it turned cold this fall. Just a slick leather. This was actually my scent of the day, and I had a really nice compliment. Somebody told me that it smelled amazing. So that's Tom Ford Ombre leather. Only is at the number 4 spot because I haven't had it for very long yet. I just got it this summer. Give this one a few months and I think it could climb up the list even further than the number 4 spot. At number 3, the top 3, I gotta tell you, are total monsters in terms of compliments for me. At number 3, I have Dior Homme. So not Dior Homme Intense, not Dior Homme Parfum, although those are awesome. I especially would love to get a bottle of Dior Homme Parfum soon. Maybe after I get back or reach 540, I'll get the Dior Homme Parfum. It's kind of one of the next fragrances on my list to get for the winter time. Dior Homme really stands up in the fall. I think you could wear it on cooler nights in the summer and then in the spring. I really love it in the fall though. You know, this has some classic men's fragrance notes like vetiver and leather and patchouli, but it also has some avant-garde notes for a men's fragrance, like that iris note, some like cacao, cocoa powder. Dior Homme has really surprised me with the amount of compliments that I get. I don't know if it's just that it works really well with my skin chemistry or what, but I get a ton of compliments with this one. Even, you know, like in kind of like classier situations, I think people really appreciate this. But even like clerks at the grocery store will tell me that whatever that is, it smells really good. It seems like actually every time I go to like any grocery store or like market, that whoever's checking me out, if I'm wearing Dior Homme, they always seem to say something. So I think this one just really projects well. It works well in the air around you, and particularly in the fall time, even the beginning of winter time. I think this really shines. Dior Homme at the number 3 spot. At the number 2 spot, this is a fragrance DNA that started me into this hobby in the first place. And this is the 3rd rendition of this fragrance DNA from Chanel, Bleu de Chanel, the Pure Parfum. Before the Pure Parfum came out, it would have been the Eau de Parfum that I would have been as my 2nd most complimented fragrance. It started it all for me, but since the Parfum has come out, I have been amazed at how well this works on me. It lasts for 10 to 12 hours on my skin, and it projects like crazy. For 3 or 4 hours, I get heavy projection from this. It just smells awesome in the air. There's this really nice real sandalwood used in this for this woody, slightly creamy effect. There's this lemon zest in this, a really nice lavender for a little bit of an herbal nuance. Of course, it has that classic blue DNA that Bleu de Chanel made so famous. This is the best of the men's blue fragrances of all the copycats and even of the Bleu de Chanel line. Bleu de Chanel Parfum is the best of those. Has been an absolute compliment monster for me. Personally, this one just happens to work really well on me. My favorite of the bunch. And my 2nd most complimented fragrance. Almost as many compliments with this as my number 1 most complimented, but not quite. Maybe with a little more time, the Parfum will gain a little traction, but just wasn't a contest for this. At number 1, my most complimented fragrance easily by far is Creed Aventus. This has nothing to do with hype. It just is the case. I get more compliments with Creed Aventus than any other fragrance in my collection. Yes, I've been wearing this one for quite a long time. I mean, I've only been into this hobby for about 2 years, but Creed Aventus really from the start was one that I started getting decants of and wearing quite a bit. And so I do wear Aventus a lot and have, and I think, you know, with all of these are fragrances that I wear a lot, and so that gives a lot of opportunity for those compliments. So that really could factor into them being the ones that I get the most compliments with, because they're also the fragrances that I wear the most. And Aventus may have something to do with that, but you know Aventus, it's got that nice bright bergamot and pineapple, smoky woods, birch wood, patchouli. There's even some florals like rose and jasmine. Dries down to kind of a nice vanillic, woody, patchouli type of base. Even has some apple in there, black currant, just give it some fruity aspects. Just a masterpiece of a fragrance, such a people pleaser. I get amazing projection on this fragrance, just really performs well. I think that's another key aspect of getting compliments. people can't compliment what they can't smell. And so it definitely shows that, especially these top three, these are probably three of my best performers in terms of just lasting a good few hours and just really jumping off of my skin in a way that people can smell it around me quite easily, especially my top three. I really think that's a big reason why I get so many compliments with these. But so there you have it. My top 5 most complimented fragrances for 2018. Always changing. Let me know what fragrances you get the most compliments with down in the comment box there. Maybe let me know what your most complimented fragrance is in the comments, or your top couple, or your top 3 or 4 or even 5 if you want to. And if you'd like to do this again sometime, please be sure and hit that subscribe button so I can see you right here at the Smells Like Fragrance channel for another video. See you next time. Thanks for watching.